See? There's nothing reserved for Lockie. You're just welcome. You've got me back. Good.
Just get Stephen can do it.
Where's the rest of your team?
Three times.
You can take those bits of paper home if you want to. You can take if you want to. Yeah. Oh, dear. Haere mai, haere mai, haere mai. Tina koto katoa. Good afternoon to you all, including those viewing on stream. On behalf of Lesley's family, I warmly welcome everyone to the celebration of the life of Lesley Gousmett. My name is Terence Keller. We live in Kirikiriroa. I have the privilege of being asked by Lesley, as she put it, to MC her farewell journey. For myself, this is a privilege, although a sad one. To be practical, I presume everybody's cell phone is turned off or something, and should we need to leave this lovely chapel in a hurry, there's the exit. It's the only one we've got. And if we need bathrooms, they're over there to the left of the cafe. I ask, may we all now take some moments to acknowledge the beauty of the land we live in, our rivers, our mountains, the companionship we share being here today, and bring to mind those who have gone before us. Thank you. Lesley has given a lot of thought and discussion into our proceedings today. And should I choke up as we go, or just bear with and know that I'm having a little breathing practice. The format is that after this introduction, her family will express their tributes to their mother and grandmother. And as we progress, please note that this is an occasion when she, Lesley, would warmly welcome anyone to come forward and to share their memories for a full and interesting life. She said to me, as long as they say something nice. Audience participation is wonderful. The format is that after this introduction, I think I just said that, I did. At the end of our celebration, her instructions are that we're going to dance a few Scottish country dances. It was going to be on the lawn, but it's a bit damp underfoot, so it'll be out in here. And then we'll cross the road to the cafe for refreshments. Lesley was brought up Catholic, and through time, as she lived life, she ceased attending. However, right through her life, she tried to follow the Catholic values that she was taught, and she lived in the hope of a life hereafter. In the scriptures, in the New Testament, 1 Corinthians 13, it says that there are three virtues: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. Lesley lived by all three. And as many of us experienced, she often reached out to others in a caring and loving way. In her generosity, she often went that extra mile. I first met Lesley at Scottish Country Dancing Evening in Hamilton in about 2020. I wasn't an expert, and ever since our meeting, she kept an eye on me, encouraging me to keep bouncing along, with some limited success. It was obvious at dancing she seemed to become everyone's friend. She loved Scottish country dancing, And today we've had the piper, Jonathan, welcoming us here. After our ceremony, when Lesley has been taken from the church, she asked that we all have a go at 2 or 3 Scottish country dances. By the way, a Scottish heritage is not necessary in order to enjoy Scottish country dancing. But she put the idea that the dancing could be something collective that we could all have a go at. Laughing is essential. She may stay a while and watch us dancing as she leaves, and she probably would be laughing then. Yeah. I was wondering that back in 1958, in Gisborne, when Lesley was born, no one could have anticipated the kind of determined, dynamic, creative, inspirational, generous, as well as unpredictably humorous woman she would become. And of course, she was many other virtues. Her humour was unpredictable. She would suddenly pop out with something, leaving the listener reinterpreting the words, the original meaning of the words. Perhaps not all of us here would know that back in 1987, at age 29, in Gisborne, she took up archery in the form of the crossbow. As only Lesley would do, she taught herself the crossbow. Well, then the following year, 1988, she represented New Zealand in the World Crossbow Championships. And that same year, she also won the Poverty Bay Sportswoman of the Year, and she told me, and I quote, "It was for my quick rise to success with the crossbow within 12 months. And she went on and said, "I did represent Lower Hutt and Poverty Bay in netball too." Well, being not the type to boast, she kept these achievements pretty quiet through the years. However, most of us know that she's always been a straight shooter, seldom missing her mark, even at netball. I asked about her placings in the World Crossbow Championships, and she said 4th. And she continued and she said, "God said to Moses, 'Go forth.' So I went forth." Seriously speaking, our Lesley, her personal determination, her focus, and ability to research really came to her aid, supporting her courageously through the last 10 years of her illness. Through her life, when a challenge came, she met it head on, becoming a teacher of many things. She was very creative, and years ago, at her then employment, she saw a need and composed spreadsheets. They'd never been, that's before computers got hold of the idea. Just as well Google never got hold of her, because she described herself with a smile as jack of all trades and master of none. I was at the dentist recently, and there was a sign on the wall that said, "A smile is the prettiest thing you can wear." And of course, I thought of Lesley. She was inspirational, often supporting others to do their best. Would her family please come forward and say a few words? I have to make room for you.
They're going to come up.
Breathing practice, it's great.
You know what? It was, we have the prep. Thank you all for coming. It means so much to her that we would all be here today, like her different whānau, her Wintek whānau, her house whānau, and her dancing whānau. And even right until the end, right, she was still, she was adamant that we wouldn't all get along. That we would somehow muck it up, and she was just like, Mom, you've got to do it. And I'm like, Mom, it's all right. We got this. We've got this. Oh, thank you for coming. We had the privilege, and I had the privilege, of saying all that we wanted to say to Mum while she was still alive. And that just means so much. Look, I'm not going to be long. That, Mum, you were always enough. Just as you were. Always. Alright. Just gonna sing a white tuckles. Yeah? You just all have to join me here. Alright? I'm not the greatest singer, but let's go. Toru wha. Te aroha. Te whakapono.
So many notes. It's way easier in your head. Way easier in your head than when it comes. Thank you, everyone, for all your support. I legitimately rehearsed what I was about to say, and I just gotta say it, right? Mum. Is this the third send-off we've had for Mum? Fourth? We've had more send-offs for Mum than I got here, you know. And it doesn't make it any easier. When we lost our brother, it was the same kind of story. And I can't quite navigate if it's because you don't want it to happen or it's just how it happened. But like Dave, you never know when they're going to go. So you don't think they're ever going to go. Positively, I purely believe that I am who I am because of how Mum raised me. Even before, like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, I've always got friction, so I ring Mum to help me with my friction. And the last conversation I had with her, I said I was at a standpoint, stuck. And she goes, well, Steve, think of it like a horse jumping a hurdle. The horse might run up the hurdle and might under-anticipate, so it figures out it needs to stop and come further back to get a big run up. Once the horse has more momentum, it clears the hurdle without fail. And what I'm trying to explain is whenever I turn to Mum for something, if it was advice, usually female advice, she's always had some kind of positive reasoning. Water under the bridge, it doesn't matter, just keep moving. And even though I knew this day was coming, it doesn't, it's just hard to believe that she's gone. How'd you do so good? I remember when we talked to the 60th, it was far easier, you know? I'm shaking. I don't really know what to say, but Mum, I love you. I miss you. And thank you for everything you do for me and everybody around me and everyone that you cross paths with. Because I truly believe you made their life better to some degree. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Would Don come forward, please? Pleased to meet you, Don. Pleased to meet you.
I got some notes here. Had a bit of a racing trip up from Gisborne because I booked going the wrong way. Ended up in Wellington and had to get myself out of that. Anyway, I'm normally very clever. So my name's Don Scott. I've known Les since the mid-80s. I just wanted to share a few thoughts from my son because he asked me to. So just a bit of context from Ash with what he's going to say. His mother died when he was 5 and he was raised by a shattered dad. This is what he had to say. We all need examples of bravery that we can that we can look at and think. That person kept smiling despite the odds. That person kept going and kept making the world around them brighter despite how hard things were. Surely I can do likewise. Through my formative years, Lesley was one of those people for me, and my life has been immensely better through her example of hopefulness in the face of adversity. She didn't just survive, she made a decision to be joyful. So, these are my thoughts. A couple of weeks ago I came to Auckland from Gizzy, and over 3 days spent time with Les in hospital. Les was a person that I deeply respect, admire and love. She's whānau to me and part of the stronger fabric of my life. As you'd heard before, Les was very good with a bow and arrow, or a crossbow, and I thought she got a little higher than fourth, but I'm not sure. Maybe she was telling me titles. She went through some tough times. Oh, she was also amazing at netball. Yeah, I do remember that, and you also agreed with that. Les went through some very tough times. Her first husband, Joe, dying from melanoma, then parting from her second husband. Then his son, David, dying after an extraordinary battle with a brain tumour. Les was a half full girl. I'm a cup half empty guy, so I'm aware and jealous of the difference. Her smile, her silly sense of humour, her can-do attitude no matter the problem, was backed by practical intelligence and loyalty. Les was working at Matapuna, a training centre, when I met her. And these are around about the dates. Talking about computers, Les, in about 1986, set me up a wages system for about 100 guys, for me with twin floppy disks using an Amstrad computer and Lotus 123. Wow. And around about 1993, I'm not quite sure of the time, Les came to work for me. We were inventing, I still am, smart forestry machinery with integrated electronics and software. In those days we made waterproof cases for HP clamshell computers, the little tiny open out ones. They had Lotus 123 embedded on the chip, which made them pretty special because you didn't need a lot of RAM to run the things. We used them in forestry data collection because they were then waterproof. We made TimberTech log optimization calipers, which when you were making logs, they were an electronic means of being able to do that. And we made a big machine that scanned stems and had log processing machinery after that that cut the stem up into logs. The challenges we had were often brutal, and in her area of responsibility, software, she found solutions. Her solutions always required blood and guts. It just wasn't a plug-and-play world then, and we were punching well above our weight with most of the math. We had data comms through landlines and built in-house radio modems to integrate in the forest where there were no landlines. Once Les drove from Gizzy to New Plymouth to troubleshoot problems, only to find the guy hadn't paid the toll bill. It was the big deal. In later years, we're teaching computer speak with you guys, some of you guys. I know not much about that area, except that she seemed to love it and love the people who were around her. So to her friends from that era, I'm so rapt that she had that time in her life. As I left the hospital, Les was in pain and I was struggling for words of goodbye. See you on the other side was what I thought it would say. In the moment it seemed too brutal to me, so I just kissed her on the head and said something classy like, "See you, mate." As I walked to the door, she said to me, "See you on the other side." Always practical, that girl. I answered the same. Susan and Steve, you've lost a great mum, one of the best as far as I'm concerned. My heart goes out to you. So I'm going to sing a little Waiata, because I come from that sort of a family. There's a land far across the ocean, and I hear her calling me home. It's my homeland, New Zealand, forever. It's the land and of the long white cloud, where they'll sing Me Emmanuel, e fitu na whaka hoki mai po kare kare ana. Hare mai ene, wae kare moana. Whoops. Means home, sweet home to me. Kia ora. Kia ora.
Would Blaine come forward, please?
E nā mana, e nā reo, e nā karangatanga maha, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Kia mātou rātou te honga mate, kia whitu tangitia, haere atu rā. Haere ki te kāinga tūturu o te tangata, kia tātou te honga ora, e tangi nei, e pauri nei, tēnā tātou katoa. On behalf of Wintic, may I extend my condolences to the family. And more importantly, also, that we will surely miss our Lesley. I just also wanted to say I apologise for reading my talk, as words elude me at this moment because of this occasion that we are at. By way of introduction, my name is Blaine Harakana. I was Lesley's manager at our local Polytech, Wintec, in Hamilton, in the Centre for Information Technology. Lesley had a quick wit and a super mischievous sense of humour. Lesley brought laughter and joy wherever she went, and she often spoke of her three loves in no particular order: her work, her family, and of course, her Scottish dancing. Lesley started at Wintec some 14 years ago, and throughout those years, she served with passion, commitment, and a quiet strength, becoming a much respected and loved member of our faculty. But we at Wintec also knew her as a miracle woman. After being diagnosed with her illness, many would have expected that she would slow down. But not Lesley. Somehow she kept going and kept giving for longer than many would have thought possible. She often said that to me, coming to work gave her a purpose to keep living. And being around her colleagues and students helped her. She carried her burden quietly, yet she continued to show up for her family, her friends, her colleagues, and her students. And that is a part of why her life and her presence meant so much to us at Wintec. Over those years, many people came to know Lesley in different ways. Hundreds of students she taught knew her as their loved teacher. We knew her as a colleague. Some knew her as a trusted friend. To her family, they knew her as a mother and nanny and a Scottish dancer. Each of those roles mattered dearly to her. Lesley gave so much to us at Wintec over the years. She began as a tutor and later stepped into the role of program coordinator. In essence, she became my right hand. She looked after me more than most people would know, and she helped carry the many administrative duties and responsibilities that came with the role. Lesley was a problem solver and had a unique sense of viewing and understanding the bigger picture. In fact, she was the superwoman Scottish dancing teacher minus the costume. As the teacher, Lesley gave more than lessons. She gave her students her time. She gave them patience and dignity. She had a gentle way about her. She never needed to be the loudest person in the room to make a difference. She simply cared. And because she cared, her students felt safe with her, and her students felt supported by her. Lesley also had a deep care for students who needed extra understanding and support. She showed real patience and compassion for students on the spectrum and those who were neurodivergent. What we didn't see, she could see. She always had time with them, and she treated them with dignity and kindness. She understood that not every learner walks the same path, and she gave of herself to help them feel safe, capable, and included. Lesley was also a generous person and raised both big and small. She loved knitting, and through her knitting, she gave little pieces of herself to others. Many of us will remember the homemade gifts she made for staff who had newborn children, and the presents she brought along to our staff Christmas breakups. Those were not only gifts, they were acts of love. They were signs of thoughtfulness. They were part of the way Lesley made people feel remembered and cared for. She was generous with her time, generous with her talent, and generous with her heart. At the centre of Lesley's world was her family, her whānau. She often spoke to me about them. She was a loving mother to 3, a proud grandmother, and someone who carried her family in her heart every day. She spoke with such pride about her children and their achievements, and there was always a softness in her voice when she mentioned her grandchildren and the special time she shared with each of them. They were never small moments in her eyes. They were precious. They were part of the joy of her life. Her love for her grandchildren was deep, personal, and full of pride. And that love will remain with each of them always, whether it was the simple moments, the driving lessons, or quiet conversations. Those times to her were precious. Her love for her family was deep, constant, and clear for all to see. One of the things Lesley loved speaking about was her Scottish dancing. She would talk about travelling up north with her dancing companions and even making trips overseas to Australia to dance. Now I have to say I have developed a deep respect for the Scottish dancing community. At one of our social events at Wintec, Lesley got us up all to do some Scottish dancing. Now, as IT people, we are fast learners. We deal in patterns, logic, and sequences all the time, so learning the steps was not that hard. The hard part was the stamina and fitness needed to keep up with the dancing moves. And what made it even worse was that when Lesley was moving through it all with lots of energy, rhythm, and a smile, while the rest of us were trying to stay upright, sucking in all the oxygen out of the air, trying to remember the sequence and catch our breath at the same time. She made it look so effortless. In that moment, we all knew that she was far fitter, far tougher, and far more graceful than many of us had given ourselves credit for. To sum up what I have just shared with you all, I'd like to share this poem. At Wintec worked Lesley steady and wise. With kindness in action and warmth in her eyes, she started as a tutor, then lecturer too, and rose through the ranks with no fuss and no cries. She taught with a patience that settled the room and helped many students step out of their gloom. No noise and no showing, just quietly knowing how to bring calm where confusion would bloom. She cared for the learners who needed more time and helped them keep going when hills failed to climb. With gentleness near, she quietened fear and made them feel valued in study and mind. She knitted with love for the babies and staff. At Christmas, her gifts brought a smile and a laugh. With needles and care, she made people aware that kindness still lives in the small things we care. She spoke of her dancing with sparkle and cheer, though some of us pictured a crash or two near. With stepping and spinning and proud Scottish grinning, she made all that dancing sound joyful, not drear. She carried the admin, the planning, the strain, and somehow brought order again and again. And Blaine's steady right hand, a superwoman, though minus the cape and the chain. She solved every problem with patience and grace and brightened the culture of our working place. So today as we part, we thank her full heart, for Lesley left goodness no one can replace. So thank you, dear Lesley, for all that you gave, for the lives that you touched and the strength that you gave. At Wintec you mattered, and though hearts are shattered, your kindness and laughter we will always save. To Lesley's family, thank you for sharing her with us. Thank you for the years we had with her. Thank you for allowing us to know her, work with her, laugh with her, and learn with her. She made our lives better. She made our place better, and we are eternally grateful for that. And to my colleagues and those who are viewing this online, and to all who knew her, let us remember Lesley for who she was, a woman of care, a woman of dignity, a woman of warmth, a woman who gave of herself in simple and faithful ways. Those ways shape lives quietly and deeply. And to you, Lesley, my dear friend and colleague, I address my closing remarks to you now. Thank you for your years of service. Thank you for the care you gave your students. Thank you for the extra care you gave those who needed understanding the most. Thank you for the friendship you gave your colleagues. Thank you for the gifts you made with your own hands. Thank you for the warmth, humour and grace you carried. You will be missed. You will be remembered. You will be spoken of with love and fondness. It seems like there has been a pattern set after each of the speakers that there is a waiata that is sung. So I'm going to ask some of our Wintec staff if they're here, if they can just come, and even the students who are here, just to come and join me. And you also can, if you all can come forward, and you can also join me as well in this little waiata that she'd often like us to sing. And you will probably note, and it's quite fitting today, that the sun is out.
Yes.
Ordered by Lesley, I am sure. Here's a lovely little song that she always liked to hear us sing. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are grey. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Hoi anō, piti hono tātai hono, rātou te honga mate kia rātou haere atu rā. Piti hono tātai hono, tātou te honga mate kia tātou. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā rā tātou katoa. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Your paper.
I don't want to mess your stuff.
Would Rory come forward? Wasn't watching. Thank you.
Make sure I put it the right way up. Okay. Right. Hello, my name is Rory Laidlaw, and I was invited to say a few words on behalf of the Scottish dancing community. I am grateful to Jen Shumi. Where's Jen? There she is. Because she posted on Facebook the message that I decided to use as a basis because she expressed so well what we all felt. And it was her son, Jonathan, who's the piper. So it's a good combination. It was with great sadness that we learnt that Lesley had passed away on the 20th of June after a long and courageous battle with cancer. I can remember the day that Lesley walked into the Lochiel Club many years ago with that same smile that could mean she could be friendly or she was up to mischief. Her determination to master the dances soon had her attending other clubs like Cambridge in order to achieve the mastery, and became a familiar and much loved face at Scottish dancing events throughout our region. It was not long after she joined our club that her son David died, and the funeral was held at the Waikato University Chapel, and the Scottish dancers supported her really well, for which I think she was always eternally grateful. She was a passionate and dedicated dancer who embraced every aspect of Scottish dancing life. For many years, she travelled widely to attend social events, summer schools and dance weekends, building friendships and connections wherever she went. Known for her quick wit and mischievous sense of humour and the occasional well-timed prank, Lesley brought laughter and joy wherever she went, alongside her enthusiasm for dancing. It was these qualities that endeared her to so many and made her such wonderful company. In an article reflecting on her summer school experience, Lesley wrote of the strong sense of community and belonging within Scottish country dancing, and she embodied that spirit herself, contributing greatly to our community and enriching the lives of so many dancers throughout her friendship, generosity, humour and commitment. Lochiel and Cambridge members who are lucky enough to attend her annual Christmas barbecue will remember the Christmas elves. And here they are, here are some of them.
Is that all of them?
Pardon?
Is that all of them?
I said, if you were paying attention, Terence, I said, not all. Will remember the Christmas elves that she produced for her guests. See, there are others around. Last year, she organised a knitting bee to complete her latest creations, Heelant Coos, and the knitting is here today. She also composed a dance in 2025 that we've called Knitwit. Not nitwit as one word, knit with a hyphen and then wit. So you're not thinking of her as a nitwit, because she wasn't. She was just a clever lady. And that will be one way that we can remember her. Lesley will be greatly missed by dancers throughout the Waikato Bay of Plenty region and beyond. Our thoughts and heartfelt condolences are with her family and friends at this difficult time. You'll be in the right place, Lesley, because we have it on good authority that God is a Scottish dancer. So rest in peace. Now, and I'm going to get Terence to help me, because I'm not a singer, but we're going to sing a wee song. You know what a bite war. If you don't know it, just stand close to me and pretend. Just open your lips.
I'll do the vowels.
Yeah. And it's very short, because I'm not used to doing this. And my wife will be horrified. So this is just a wee song for Lesley. Where's Christine? You know this. Ready, go. You know I walked by the wall. You know I walked leaving. You know I walked by the wall. You'll I come back and see ya. You're out of tune. All right.
Who's talking here?
Right.
Right. Now, would other people who are keen to come forward, please do so. She did say to me, she said to me, you know, would other people come up and say something? And she said, you'd better police all the speakers so that nobody says something they shouldn't.
I promise I shan't. But also I promise I shan't sing.
Okay.
I'm Sue Wrigley and a member of the Cambridge Scottish Country Dancing Group. For all her dancing life, Lesley was a member of our club and she contributed to the welfare of the club in so many ways. For a number of years, she was on the committee as secretary, but she spread her talents far wider than that. I would like to pass on our club's condolences to Lesley's family and friends. Our president, Antanas Prasuta, as well as Marilyn Shepherd and Helen Smythe, send their apologies for not being here today. Helen is in Melbourne for a week at the Melbourne Winter School Scottish Country Dancing. She is teaching the advanced class there. For a number of years, Helen, Lesley and I have had a very close friendship. The three of us often travelling together to dances throughout New Zealand and Australia, as well as to other events not necessarily including dancing. We three have had so much fun together over the years, and now Helen and I can be grateful that we have so many memories of these fun times together. Lesley, Helen and I shall miss you so much. Peace at last.
Thank you. Would anybody else love to come forward? That's sure, without hesitation.
And I promise I won't sing. I've left my speech behind.
Oh, have you?
Just hang on a sec. I have to read it as well. Sorry.
You move very quickly.
For those of you that don't know me, I'm Pauline Scott and I'm president of the Hibiscus Coast Scottish Country Dance Club. Being part of the Scottish dancing fraternity for a long time, Lesley came into our lives on various occasions at events both in Auckland and all around the country. Some of the longest standing members of our club have enjoyed her company on the dance floor, but we've also got to know her on a more personal basis, sometimes sharing accommodation, having a lot of laughs at different Easter schools. As has been alluded to before, Lesley had a rather unique sense of humour, and we just seemed to click. We felt as if we'd known her for years. Whilst Lesley was receiving treatment up in Auckland City and North Shore Hospital, we were very fortunate to have her come and dance at our club, and indeed she became an honorary member. Dancing was so much part of her life that if at all possible, She made it on the dance floor whenever and wherever she could. On a more personal note, I'm a hospital volunteer at North Shore Hospital, and I was able to visit her many times when she was admitted. We had some special conversations together, but I remember one in particular. She told me that she had 3 special families in her life: her own family and good friends, her work family, and her dancing family. And they were all important to her in their own right. Whichever one we belong in, we know that Lesley will be remembered fondly in all our hearts. And condolences to the family.
Thank you. The floor is still open. It's been open a long time.
Hi, I'm Jen, for those that don't know me. I was lucky enough to know Lesley for the last 4 years, and in that time we certainly packed a lot in. We shared dancing weekends away, danced plenty of dances together, road trips, sewing afternoons, trips to Ribbon Rose, sleepovers at her place, and more laughs than I can count. Knowing Lesley, I think she'd appreciate us sharing a few laughs today as well. So I'd like to share a few moments that still make me smile or laugh out loud. One of the things I'll always remember about Lesley was her wonderfully cheeky sense of humour and her love of a good prank. One evening, after a Scottish country dance had finished, we were all packing up, stacking chairs, changing our shoes and getting ready to head home. I was sitting beside Lesley, chatting away while I put my puffer jacket on. My right arm went in just fine, but for the life of me, I couldn't get my left arm through the sleeve. I tugged at it, tried pulling the sleeve from the cuff, and couldn't work out what was wrong. Eventually, I gave up, took my jacket off, and discovered that Lesley had quietly tied a knot in the sleeve while I wasn't looking. She sat there trying not to laugh while I puzzled over it, and when I finally found the knot, we absolutely cracked up laughing. It wasn't the first time she'd caught me out, and it certainly wasn't the last. That prank summed Lesley up perfectly. She had an incredibly quick wit and always seemed to have the perfect one-liner ready. She also took particular delight in trying to catch me during the dance, Catch the Wind. Once I realised what she was up to, I started moving a little faster so she couldn't catch me quite so easily, although she still came extremely close. I remember one day we were discussing what to wear to a dance. Lesley said, "Jeans, and a top, of course. We don't want to frighten anyone." I replied, "Frighten everyone off? What were you planning on wearing otherwise?" Without missing a beat, she replied, "My birthday suit, but it's a bit wrinkly." On her birthday, I wished her a lovely day, and she replied, "Thank you. I'll do my best to continue my angelic behaviour." I questioned, "Angelic?" Her response came straight back, "Of course, and always. I just have trouble working out which way first." Even when life became difficult, Lesley never lost that incredible sense of humour. The hospital became the Big White Hotel, the blood test clinic became the vampires, and when her liver started improving, she joked that her mellow yellow had finally subsided. She wasn't just funny when life was easy, she was funny when life was hard. I think that's one of the things I'll admire most about her. We also spent many lovely afternoons together. We browsed yarn together at Ribbon Rose, admired all the beautiful colours and enjoyed the odd sewing afternoon. One day we were at a craft group day and I was working on one of my own sewing projects while Lesley had brought along some fabric and a pattern with the intention of making herself a full circle skirt like mine for dancing. Somehow my sewing got put to one side and I ended up making her skirt instead. Lesley, meanwhile, was perfectly content sitting there chatting and watching me sew. Thinking about it now, I suspect that may have been her plan all along. She was incredibly talented with her knitting too. Her handmade Christmas ornaments were beautiful, and I treasure the little Highland cow she knitted for me. Every ornament she made was different, which made each one feel even more special. People often say they'll remember someone's smile. I'll remember Lesley's laughter and the way she made everyone else laugh too. She had a wonderful gift for finding humour in everyday life, and she shared that gift so generously with everyone around her. Every time I put on my puffer jacket, dance Catch the Wind, or sit down at my sewing machine, or look at the little Highland cow she knitted for me, I'll think of Lesley and I'll smile. Thank you, Lesley, for the laughter, the friendship, and for keeping me on my toes. I'll miss you enormously.
Does anybody else wanted to come forward and say something they shouldn't? You're very welcome. I have a short story. Well, it's already been said several times. But it so happens that she made all these little elves. And one of them, she said, represented me. And this is it. Here he is. I could not see the resemblance. I think it could be the hair. Yeah. Well, we now complete the celebration of a notable life. Thank you, Lesley, for your love that you shared and the courage you lived your life by. And may we continue to value the memories you have given us. Thank you. Rest well, good lady. Would Tiffany Services please come forward and wheel Lesley out, but I can't see them. Why do my Tiffany Services? Jim, I can make up. And would the pallbearers gather at the door to be able to escort her or carry her to the vehicle? Yeah, take her out, yes. Are these brakes on?
probably not.
Can you go get the birches in the car? Hold it here. Hold it here. Hold it there.
Just get Stephen can do it.